So welcome, ladies and gents, to the opening games in the group in Titans League Gold for a player in running who is formerly a platinum player. He's now in gold, playing as the Gujaras. And then the yellow, we've got Ciskhan, player who was recently promoted from silver. This is his first performance in Titans League Gold. And I was saying, I think Ciskhan's had the quality for the last couple years, last year or two specifically, to really be a gold player. I guess Titans League didn't run, though, throughout that whole period. But I think this is going to be an important tournament for his career. I think, at the very least, just building confidence off a good performance here this season will be good for him in other tournaments in Age of Empires 2 esports. But he's a very fast player if you don't know much about him. And he's definitely similar to Sato, another Frenchman who prefers his aggression, prefers his open maps. Maybe struggles a little bit more on the closed maps. So, see how it goes. Now, the map is ravines. On this map, you start with outposts, and there's lots of wood lines. There's just tons of resources in general. So, if you wanted to play safe, you could justify that and maybe go for the walling approach. But it's open enough as well where aggression can happen. There's lots of deer here, so the Dark Age is rather boring. Typically, they're just going to push in a crap ton of deer. And then they're going to go fast feudal, usually. And then you have double berries to work with. You've got double gold and double stone around your TC. But then it's about expanding. So this is not the first time we've seen Ravines Game 1. I think a lot of people are opting for this because it's not fully closed, but it's not extremely open. It's a comfortable map to start a series for a lot of players. Neither player is going to hate it. But let's talk about the matchup. So someone in my chat just moments ago was like, I played as Magyars against Gujaras recently, and I had no clue what to do. It was an impossible matchup for me. And what was their name? Modder. Modder, did you know it was going to be the Civ matchup when you said that? Or is that just plain luck? Because that's a pretty crazy coincidence if you didn't hear me say it ahead of time. Either way, okay, he didn't know about that. That's crazy. Okay, well, it is a tough matchup at times, particularly in like the Castle Age if you want to play through knights for the Magyars. The Gujaras have the strong camels, and so Gujaras have the counters to that. They also do have the Shrivamsha Rider, which can be kind of frustrating for Cav archers to deal with. Now, anytime you're up against a camel civ, you need to be playing into... So this is how you have to think about it. Anytime you're up against a camel civ, you don't want to just not make your best unit, which is scouts, right? Or knights. You still need to make that, but you need a combination. You need to mix in pikes. So a lot of people will try and play knight pikeman. A bit awkward to play with offensive pikemen, of course, because of pikemen having mobility issues. But that's how I would suggest playing it. I've also said this a bunch of times. I don't actually think Shrivamshas are that good. I think they're a fake unit. I think Castle Age Shrivamshas are annoying to raid with. But in terms of fighting off Cav archers, they're not actually that good. So I think in the mid game, you can still play 3-range Cav archers. And maybe the camel Shrivamsha mix won't work for the Gujaras. So that's kind of my tip. Yeah, technically, like Cav archers and pikes could work. But a lot of it here is going to depend how Feudal Age plays out. You can see already. Running, realizing this is a lot to wall in the front. So he'll play a little bit more defensive. I think his stable might end up being built over here. And he might wall in towards the TC. So we'll see. Yeah, I think the one thing you really don't want to make a lot of against the Gujaras is regular archers. I still think there's a window for a crossbow timing. But then after the crossbows are done, like, producing more crossbows when the opponent can make Shrivamsha can be really tricky. But yeah, my feeling is Castle Age Shrivamshas are not actually that good against Cav archers. But we're talking highest level. So I don't know how comparable this is for most other ELOs that are listening to this. So range coming up for running, which is interesting. He found where Ciskhan will be. He's assuming Ciskhan will go scouts because Ciskhan is Magyars. As Ciskhan comes in, Ciskhan also has found running. And he'll find some villagers here as well. So he'll see the range. He has an idea of what the opening is from running, and you can kind of see the difference between the two. Running, more of the defensive player. A lot of this might be because he's a defensive civ as well. And his plan is archer opening. Usually when you see archer opening from Gurjaras, it's to force the opponent into skirms and then play into your own scouts. Because if you open with your own scouts, it's not as cheap as Magyar's, so it's tougher to afford. In combo with the fact that that's kind of what the Magyar player wants. But I don't really think... Like, I don't think Ciskhan's going to have any complaints over how this is starting. He starts to see walls. Maybe that will be where he starts to get a little frustrated. But still could mass a lot of scouts here. Like, you don't necessarily need to add skirms. He'll find the walls are there. And now Running's moving forward with the one spear, one archer, and then there's the range for Ciskhan. So kind of as we said... Be curious to see how Running performs this tournament. He was playing really good in Platinum once he made it. The one season. Running has had a bit of a weaker year or two. Maybe year and a half. Hasn't been doing as well in other tournaments as maybe he was the year prior. I don't really have a reasoning for that, but this is a really nice engagement for him. His Camel Scout weakens a lot of the scouts here. And Camel Scout could actually just kill off the Spearman as well. In the end, the Camel Scout goes down, so I guess that's not the worst for Ciskhan. And Ciskhan's being a real pain here with his scouts. He's blocking the best visibility, and he will snipe a villager. That's really impressive. But it's just like a very passive opening from Running. And Running has 500 wood in the bank as well, so still no farms. Meanwhile, farms are coming up for Ciskhan. Skirms are already on the way. He does actually see the archer and the spearman here. He house walls, but it wasn't enough. But here his scouts are still running around. And here he's just a skirmisher away from defending. So res collected is higher for Running right now. Civ matchup probably really good for Running, which is why he picked Gurjaras in the first place. But economically, it looks really bad. It's actually surprising that he just got up to 700 wood. Not having a single farm now is crazy here. He did go double berries. And now he'll add the farms, and he will also have a market to stabilize. Ciskhan coming forward with more scouts now. A bit of idle TC time for Running. We've seen players try and wall towards the TC on this map, and it normally ends up being very complicated, but seems like Running at least will keep the archers at home. So he'll have that and villagers to put inside the TC. And there's our answer on what Running was going to do with all that wood. He actually sells all his res, and he clicks up to Castle Age. He also sold the stone. So he's got 5 farms right now. The opponent's got 9 with the double berries. But Running is up. And that's where Running will shine here, is in Castle Age, in my opinion. So, 300 more res collected. KD's pretty even. I think the best thing that Running could be playing into right now would be a stable. And it's a shame he doesn't have the stable right now, because you could actually produce Camel Scouts in Feudal. So, yeah, that would be huge. Does anyone remember the Yo MBL Land Madness game in the Garrison qualifier? It's kind of a similar situation to that. Yo opened archers with Saracens, and then he used the market, and then he wanted camels as quickly as possible, knowing that camels could deal with the amount of scouts and the amount of skirms. Ciskhan is still making army, by the way. So this is going to be a lot of military pressure from him. But skirms don't really disrupt the walls all that much. It will take a long time to kill any vills there. Camel scouts are on the way. And it will be 2 stables from Running. So He's giving up map control, but he's at least clearly prioritizing taking the map control back. Still think this could be okay for Ciskhan. He has time to wall up. He's got lots of free space in the back of his base for later. He has good farm setup. But this is a lot of time for running to take some engagements and make some decisions here. 2 stables, and he goes... So he has the camels, but he'll also have the Shravamshas. And if Shravamshas get into the back of Ciskhan's base, it could be really frustrating. Fight's actually taken here before Bloodlines is in, so this is just a regular camel. I don't know what the extra bonus damage Gurjaras get equates to compared to just, like, I guess a vanilla camel. Like, I don't know, a Byzantine camel. But Magyar scouts at least fought off the 1 camel. And the other camel here probably will go down to the scouts as well. But running will clear this. So running will clear this. The camel's actually being microed away. Ciskhan should kill that if he can. Ciskhan ends up killing it. Second TC for running. And I think this will be very close here. Like, running has gained what he wanted out of this. He's cleared up the Feudal Age army. And now he has the Shravamsha Riders. The main thing is, will these Shravamshas run past the TC? The fact that Ciskhan isn't completely walled, and this is Shravamshas of all things that could run through the TC is pretty crazy. Ciskhan, you could tell he doesn't really know what to do now. He's thinking about it. But even against scouts, this wouldn't be great, right? Because there's still areas to run past the TC, and these are Shravamshas. Even if the TC hits them, they have the shield. And so 1 Shravamsha through, 2nd Shravamsha through, running, gets the hill, evens up the KD. Well, should get another villager pick, gets that villager pick as well. This Shravamsha's in the woodline, gets another villager pick. And so for anyone who questions over running start, this is it. He just didn't want to play in Feudal Age against Magyars. So 3 villagers killed. And now Ciskhan makes it to Castle Age, where he will make Cav Archers. So, economically, Ciskhan's going to have some issues here. Not just because he lost the Vills, but because of how many houses he's had to add, how many reactions he's had to go for. It's not going to be super easy for him to just immediately drop the 2nd TC and get all the upgrades he needs for his Cav Archers. He needs to stabilize here. And stabilizing this will take a little bit of time. He's still tracking this. So the Shravamshas shouldn't find many more kills, but there is still that small army coming forward from running. And running is managing 2 TCs. And for all the farms he didn't have before, he's got plenty now. And a nice little Vil lead for running as well. But this, back to what I said earlier, I think Cav Archer can actually be quite good here. And I also think Cav Archer can be quite good here long term. With Recurve Bow. Could be a really good unit. 2nd TC now from Ciskhan. Cav Archers do not have Bodkin yet, actually. So that's going to be a pretty big concern. It's also possible Ciskhan doesn't notice that. It's pretty rare not to have it at this point. Looks like the extra Shravamsha got picked off in the north. 2nd TC now from Ciskhan. There's no armor on the Shravamshas. So yeah, I've given you my opinion before. But just a reminder, 75 HP. Once that shield is gone, it's a 75 HP unit with 8 base attack. So it's all about the shield. It's all about the shield. It's all about the speed. You know? Double range Cav Archers is pretty good economically as well. Should be able to produce Vils non-stop now, Ciskhan, but he is 12 Vils behind. So now a Siege Workshop for running. Yeah, so I think running is first off, he's being very patient. Like, this Cav Archer army hasn't hit him yet because he's been so mobile with these units. It's given him his eco time to cook a little bit. And he'll play in towards Scorpions, which, especially now... excuse me. Especially now is really good. being able to eventually get ballistics for the Scorpions can really help out against this Cav Archer meta we're in. There's another TC for Ciskhan, so he will be the first to 3 TCs. But Ciskhan will find it very difficult to find damage here. Running is walled up the whole left side with houses. The front of his base he has vision on. Scorpions are being prepped. So almost feels like the ecos will stabilize a little bit. And Ciskhan will match the villager count of running. But running is going to take back that map control. And good reactions there from running. Guys, it is a skill to be able to set up your base so you just do not take much damage. It's something that running does very well compared to a lot of the other players in his group. I do think running doesn't have the overall mobility of Ciskhan, but just the base structure and then the strategy should be really good for him. And TC garrisons, but his unit's still kept alive. We'll move back towards the Scorpions now. So yeah, this is like... This now becomes very difficult for the CA player to engage against. 3 Scorpions is really tricky. And what you'd have to add, if you wanted to add anything, you would have to add some Knights or a Mangonel. And if you add the Knights, the Camels are going to be there. And then if you add the Mangonel, the Shravamshas are going to be there too. But I think the best option is Mangonel, in my opinion. But that's only if you can get the Siege Workshop on the front. You really don't want the Siege Workshop in the back. Still 2 TCs from running. Still haven't seen the 3rd TC, but there's the 3rd TC now. He doesn't actually have any of his extra gold scouted. So there's a lot of extra gold over here and over here. He doesn't have any of it scouted. That's similar for Ciskhan, actually. So his gold, I guess, would be here and then over here. What he might need to take is this gold on the front, though, and that time could be coming soon. He only has 1,000 gold and that gold in the back. Thing about Scorpions, as good as they are at stopping your opponent from attacking, they're not really good at attacking themselves. So I think running might still just be relying on that defensively. He did just shift a bunch of vills over to stone, though. So it feels like there's a future in running, a future in running's castle. Sorry, a castle in running's future. Still no ballistics for the Cav Archers. Very close game here. The Shravamshas gets shredded. It's going to be Knight and Cav Archer here from Ciskhan. 2 stables to produce Knights out of. 2 ranges for the CA. Look at the resources for both. They are spending their res like crazy right now. Like, especially Ciskhan, for a moment there, it looked like he had less than 100 resources banked. Really efficient play. We still don't have ballistics for running. And we still don't have ballistics for Ciskhan. Feels like it could be really helpful for both. But also, you could make an argument. You could just... It's better for you to spend the wood that you would spend on a university and ballistics on just a couple more Scorpions. I think that there's an argument there to be made. Important moment. That gold is needed right now for Ciskhan. He's almost out of it in the back. And this is also a time before there's lots of camels for running. Running's starting to mix in the camels now because he saw the Knights. Ciskhan will have 6 of them. And there go the Knights now. Camels need to come in. Monks will be here from running. I think this can be good for running. Let's see how many Scorpions survive this. The Shravamshas will push back some of the CA. The Monk gets a conversion. And it's such a tough spot for Ciskhan to move into right now. He won't take the Scorpions, which is what he wanted. He can't advance forward with the Knights without getting converted. And a beautiful hold from running in the middle here. And it's going to be tough for Ciskhan. Ciskhan's gold is still in the front. And if he doesn't have any other golds, this fight could actually win running the game. Now, running will pounce. Running will slice the villagers up. Any Knights that come out, there's still camels there to protect. He didn't micro perfectly, though. I mean, as much as the raid there was still good for running, maybe there's a small chance that Ciskhan could still win fights now. But yeah, I don't know. There's Shravamshas running through. The Cav Archers are all pretty weak. And Running's now walking forward with Vils to drop a castle. The other thing Running's done an amazing job with is he always has more units in queue. Sometimes it can be tough to afford the Shravamshas because of their heavy food cost. But he's made a lot of Shravamshas this game. He's made a lot of camels this game, and there's the castle. And so now Ciskhan, again, he doesn't have vision on this gold over here. He can't take his forward gold. He can't take this gold either. He's pretty much not in a position to expand at all. He set everything up into this corner. He's got a crazy farm count. But now the Gajara player is going to have gold. And he'll have to play with whatever Cav Archers he has in combination with Light Cav to try and somehow get some map control to fight this back. Another TC here from Running. Running up to 110 Vils. And he is going to queue up more Shravamshas now. But this should be tough for Ciskhan. Ciskhan will lose his monk. Running will lose his monk. Ciskhan will snipe the scorpions. But even Ciskhan needs his stone. And yet, true, there's still no ballistics for Ciskhan. But at this point, he doesn't have gold. So, is that even realistic to get at this point? I think he's just too focused. Like, he's done a sick job macroing behind with the farms. He's too focused on all of that and constantly being aggressive to think of that tech here. Now, I think Running, he'll click up to Imp. And once he's on the way to the Imperial Age, this is maybe the last chance for Ciskhan. The next 3 minutes decide a lot in this game. Nice snipe there from Ciskhan on a monk getting a relic. But I mean, relics are not going to decide this one. This is purely comes down to gold control. Running's got so much of it after placing this castle. Would kind of love to see Running get ballistics as well, just for his castle. But like, that's low priority compared to keeping the rest of his base alive here. And Ciskhan is going to bring Vils forward to drop a castle on Running's face here. This is what you need right now if you're Ciskhan. The Cav Archer mass is also pretty insane. The Light Cap production's insane. He does have that stone in the back. Maybe he could find a gold over to the right side. There's a TC going up. Okay, so that should complete on gold. Light Cav are finding some Vil picks. Castle's being walled in. It's actually crazy how he's only building a forward castle with 9 Vils. Ciskhan making things interesting right now. And Pikeman. It's good play if you don't have gold. It's a good play against Shravamshas and against camels. But Running just kind of is going to give this area up. Drops one of his own castles. And clearly he's going to be planning around Trebs. So I think Ciskhan's forward castle will probably not end up accomplishing a lot. And if that's the case, if his castle goes down and his opponent's still an imp, there's going to be some pretty big problems. Now, Running has most of his food eco idled at the moment because of this. So he won't easily be able to afford more units and or upgrades. Ciskhan's food eco is flying. Like, the fact that he's been unrated is huge. He is on gold. But is it too late? Raids from Ciskhan. Ciskhan will probably never make it to imp at this rate. The raids get cleared up. Ciskhan has killed 24 Vils this game. There's the armor upgrade for Running. Here's the Trebs as well. The Cav Archer's diving through. It's underneath the castle fire. Castle doesn't have fletching, though. I still think even without fletching, the castle's enough to protect. Ciskhan just has to aim to make this as messy as humanly possible. And hold the map control. He's probably thinking that he could hold the map with pikes, potentially, right? I think Magyar pikemen should be pretty good against camels. As far as Castle Age options go, it's pretty good. But yeah, that castle's going to go down. He'll place another castle back here. And when the imp resources aren't really there for you, you sometimes just feel like you have to stay in Castle Age to hold more of the map. And so that's what Ciskhan is thinking right now with all the light cav in queue. Again, he's done a really impressive job just cramming a farm into every area he can in the back. If this area remains safe, this is key for him, especially now that he has some gold. And he is killing off Running's army. I mean, Running's still 30 population behind. Ooh, but Running lost to Treb. And okay, looks like he'll actually keep the next Treb alive. These Trebs are actually still alive as well to potentially make a move for this castle. You could tell, like, Running picked Gurjaras for the late game. And Running is in no rush to take any risks at this point. He's probably just realizing this is what he wanted. That he has Ciskhan on the ropes, and with a little bit more patience, we'll get to his late game comp. Gurjaras, if they can get to heavy camo with Frontier Guards, combined with the Chakrams, can be really awkward for the opponent to deal with. At the same time, though, well played from Ciskhan. Ciskhan has enough army resistance here where Running had to back up with the Trebs. So Running still doesn't feel comfortable to take a fight here. And Ciskhan's going to make it to Imp. Also use the TC on the back in case he got Trebbed on the front. Running, making a couple Chakrams now with his camels. I'm still just not convinced. Like, I don't know if Running can actually push right now. I think if he does, he might actually lose the fight. We'll see. Quick walls from Ciskhan. He's officially warmed up. Oh, but there's a hole. Okay. Well, it was exciting until it wasn't. Elite oh, it's Elite Shravamsha Rider on the way. Okay, so the Shravamshas will be elite. The Chakrams will not be. And I think Shravamshas should be deadly with the raids. And certainly at least until the Imp upgrades and the Cav Archers, they can be deadly in front of the Cav Archers as well. It's just, this game is so tough for Ciskhan. If Shravamshas are running around, they could clear up your eco so quickly. Ballistics finally comes in for Ciskhan. Running, maybe a little wasteful to go out raiding with camels. But Running now has their elite Shravamsha. He's ready. His Trebs are going to deploy on this castle. Heavy Cav Archer on the way for Ciskhan. Pikemen are in front here. So that's helping out massively against these camels. Pikeman Cav Archer could still be an option here for Ciskhan to have a chance in this game. But his pikes are gone. His castle might go down. Beautiful patience from Running. I think if he would have used these Trebs 2 minutes ago, I think he might have lost them. His opponent is on heavy CA now, which is kind of worrying, but once his opponent doesn't have a castle, recurve bow can't be researched. And if you don't have castles, you're likely going to be raided to death. I'm looking at this right here. Even this right here, this gate going down, all of this is an avenue for raids. Look at what Running's done as well to expand, keep vision on the extra stones and golds. So he has this. He also has 3 relics on the map. And look at him just fall back to the Chakrams right now. And now the Chakrams are going to be elite as well. Gurjaras have one of the craziest late games in the game on this type of map. I think on a closed map, like Black Forest, it wouldn't be so good, but this is the perfect map for late game Gurjaras. And now the Shravamshas are going to raid, and this is tough. Up to 90 HP now. I think the shield is stronger. Just such a tough unit to deal with. Still would love to see Running get ballistics here. But he's prioritizing all the other techs. It just... Chat, does it bother you when you see units running past castles and not getting hit in these scenarios? There's certain things that just bother me. That's one of those things. But I also can recognize that Running is looking at the golds, and Running is trying to raid, and Running's doing a lot of stuff right now. It is heavy Cav Archer and Halb right now for Ciskhan. If there was ever a comp, this would be it. And now he's finding some raids with the light cap. He has 74 on food, guys. He just doesn't really have the gold. Running is 4 of the 5 relics. I don't think he'll ever get the 5th. Was someone judging the crop rotation upgrade? No, I think that's great. In this type of game, on this type of map, getting crop rotation is fantastic in my opinion. It's likely this game could go on for a while, and that can give you an advantage. It obviously does take some time to pay off. I'm not saying there's immediate payoff for it, but... Raid still continuing back here. Idle time for Ciskhan is rising as he tries to deal with all of this, but he did kill off most of the Shravamshas. He still has some control over here. And he still has 70 on food. He hasn't been raided yet. I think running is missing a couple outposts. Like, if he had an outpost here, it would clearly come to his mind that he could go for the raid. These Frisbees, dude. If they can connect with a big group, they'll shred it. But these are heavy cav archers we're talking about. Still does feel like running can always just toss more units into the fold. He's got the gold control. He's got the castle set up. He'll have more castles as well, I'm sure of it. And with the Shravamshas tanking in front, the Chakrams can shred the CA. And most of the CA go down now. There also was another raid back here. This Shravamsha killed 10 Vils. I think running, dropping a castle here. It will take Ciskhan off of this gold. This will also give him access to more stone for another castle. Beautiful patience from running. This is what he wanted. This whole game is why running played Feudal Age so passively. He knew if it got to this stage that he would be comfortable. And I think that's what his civilization prefers. I also think that's what he prefers as a player. Getting 4 relics? 140 Vils at this stage? All these techs. He got 2 different types of unique techs. He got Elite Shravamsha and he got Elite Chakram. And he was also making camels. Like, that's not easy to do. Well played from running. Running takes the first game. Ciskhan maybe feeling a little frustrated after that one. I think the biggest mistake from Ciskhan was probably making skirms. Like, him going skirms felt natural in an Arabia game, but the additional skirms didn't really do too much in Feudal Age. It kept him in Feudal Age longer than he needed. Players will do that if the opponent goes archers. It makes sense. But I guess it was just a good mind game from running. Running was never really going to be going for many archers at all in the first place. I don't know. Like, the only other thing I could suggest from Ciskhan is maybe full wall the front of your base. And then the early Shravamshas can't run in Castle Age. But it just felt like running was so comfortable most of this game. Every time something was coming to his base, he was ready for it. In Castle Age, he had the Scorps. The forward castle was super good. Like, I don't know. That's just running playing super solid right there. It's hard to find too many ideas of what Ciskhan can do. I don't think you could look at this and just say Civwin, by the way. I do think that recurve bow heavy cav archer with Halb and Hussar is really good. But Ciskhan didn't have the map control to play late game. Ciskhan did actually have better food eco that game, but running controlled most of the stone and gold around the map. And it was just a little late from Ciskhan to recognize he maybe needed his side gold. But a lot of that's because he was the one under pressure, right? Okay, so now running changes his color. So are we changing running's color back? I kind of like these colors. Let's actually keep this. That was a good one for game number 1, but we want to play with the player colors. So we got Ciskhan again in the yellow. He's playing as the Khmer. Really nice choice here, in my opinion. And then we have the Japanese for running. The map is Rocky Forest. This map is the map that maybe inspired the devs to create mule carts. Because you cannot build on this rock terrain, which means you cannot place efficient lumber camps. Any lumber camp you place is going to be 1 tile off of the wood, which no pro player is really going to want to do. This eventually means that once you chop through a couple trees, you can place an efficient lumber camp. But it means you can't small wall in your vills, and you also can't wall the front of this. So without the unbuildable terrain, this would be a super campy map. But with the unbuildable terrain, it's very aggressive. That's precisely what Ciskhan wants here. That's the type of player he is. So, honestly, with a little bit more scouting, you could have placed a better lumber camp here. Like, I think had he scouted this area, I think you're one tile closer to the wood. So that is actually a horrible lumber camp. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. Running has found a spot where you can actually place one tile off. This lumber camp is like, oof. Also, I think, I can't really tell when I'm casting, but I think you should be able to place it one tile further into that as well. So that's not really what I was expecting here. He might blame the map, but like there's opportunities if you just scout it. And fortunate for him. Running probably picked Japanese for Man-at-Arms, because Man-at-Arms can be devastating when the opponent can't wall. And Running also probably picked Japanese for the cheap lumber camps, right? And also, with all the hunt in the middle, cheap mills as well could be really nice. So my thinking is, as Ciskhan is just pushing deer, if you're wondering what he was doing with his scout, he's just pushing the deer. He probably doesn't want to build a mill in the middle, so he'll take what he can for now. But yeah, I think Running's strategy will be to come forward. Hold the middle control, where there's lots of hunts, stone, and gold. It's so important for Ciskhan to get a win here. If you get swept in Titans League, it takes your odds so far down on if you could potentially qualify. And obviously, the competition's not going to get much easier in any of these groups, right? Yeah, you can also place a lumber camp on the wood in the back. So this is also an option, and there's not buildable terrain. So I've seen some people do that. I think Ciskhan got the scouting information after he made the decision to place the lumber camp. But this is a bad lumber camp. Like, this is just not good. Fortunately for him, he doesn't have to build a barracks at all. And maybe he's picked Khmer because you can hop in and out of houses there. There's the barracks already from Running, though. Pretty smooth build from what I can see. And he clicks up. Yeah, this will be Man-at-Arms for him. Now, his eco will be stretched kind of thin with this. This is a very fast build. 18 pop Man-at-Arms is crazy. I think the only civ that could do this is probably Japanese. I don't think any other civs could do an 18 pop Man-at-Arms build. I also think it's not going to be easy economically to go forward with 4 vills. I mean, if you do, they need to be working right away. But I was thinking 4 vills for a tower or something. From here, I don't know how realistic that is. There's more villagers over to the wood. 8 on wood for Running. Again, this lumber camp actually makes you happy on Rocky Forest. Ciskhan's lumber camp makes me want to scream. I won't scream because it's a Saturday morning and my fiance might still be sleeping in because it's her day off. But I want to scream. Ciskhan might want to scream as well once he realizes Man-at-Arms are going to be here at this time. But this is so fast, I don't even think bit axe is doable. I think you choose between Man-at-Arms and double bit. And obviously, you got to go for the Man-at-Arm choice here. There's the militia. They get some nice hits on the scout. Ciskhan was not expecting that. Maybe he was, because he's on gold already. But nice early aggression here from Running. Man-at-Arms is on the way. Now, Running doesn't know where the wood line is. But you have to imagine it's around here somewhere. I actually think against Japanese guys, taking this backwood should be a tweak to people's builds. Against any Man-at-Arms civ, you need to do that. Okay, well, now you're Khmer. You can hop in and out of houses. Congratulations. But, like, you still need your villagers to work here. Running's just going to attack the house for now. And Ciskhan might try and fight this off in some way. It's interesting how patient Running is being right now. There will be archers here for his opponent. Ciskhan fighting and then whoop into the house. Okay. Archer number 2 is in queue for Ciskhan. So far, so good for Ciskhan. He hasn't lost the vills. He also hasn't had a lot of idle time. Archer could go down. That'll get microed back. Nice aggression here from Running. Running's also adding skirms from the middle of the map now. Ciskhan's done a great job with his vill production. He's done a nice job to be patient here. This could have been so much worse. Any civ but Khmer and he could have lost vills. Still maybe ever so slightly surprised we didn't see Running actually engage or try and force an engagement. But I'm sure that's just because Ciskhan has the ability to hop in and out of houses and micro down the man-at-arms. And when you see a player come at you like that to fight you off, you really start to think that it's not a good play for you to engage. This is so intense. But nice defense from Ciskhan so far. He still hasn't lost a villager. He does lose his scout. Skirms could be an issue, but saves the archers inside the tower. TC. Now he loses a vill. And this should be the end of the man-at-arms. Ciskhan will get out of this having only lost 2 villagers. Running will be pretty happy with this in the end. Sorry, I had a massive brain fart there, and in my brain, because I guess I'm not awake yet, I thought the man-at-arms were going to die to the skirms. Clearly, that makes no sense, because these are running skirms. So, it might take a little bit longer for Ciskhan to be able to breathe here. Crazy aggression from Running. Running has had 90 seconds of TC idle time, though. Producing spears and skirms and man-at-arms, it's not easy to do. He's farming back at home. But Ciskhan won't know, as Ciskhan is now housed. Ciskhan won't know his opponent has had a minute and a half of idle time. He'll only know that he lost 2 vills, and that he's under heavy pressure here, and that this is an uncomfortable spot. I do think that the scout follow-up from Ciskhan is top tier. The man-at-arms and the scout are all like 1 volley away from going down. So this might just be a skirm spear situation for Running. Tell Running's a little concerned there could be a counterattack here from Ciskhan. Right, he keeps falling back into this opening so he could see if Ciskhan goes forward. Ciskhan only 3 farms right now, but does have a lot on berries. Does feel like the lack of wood income could be a problem for him. Especially if he loses his whole wood line, which has been the focus of Running so far. And Running sniping all the archers. Ciskhan, what is happening to your archers? Your archers are disappearing. Maybe he'll think this is worth it. But there will be a spearman follow-up here from Running as well. Running will lose most of his skirms, but still a nice engagement there for Running. And now, I actually like the fact that Running is making archers. A bit stronger against any of the scouts. A bit stronger against vills. There's still some weak villagers here. And Running has had such good army control, such good army presence, but will that change? The spearman gets focused down, and Ciskhan will get a nice clear up here. The skirms that are remaining will also go down. I think the archer as well for Running will get sniped, and Ciskhan with a moment to breathe. Well played. It's like for the last 6 or 7 minutes, Ciskhan has been under pressure. But finally, he's able to have a little bit of control himself. It's interesting as well, right? Because Running is fletching. So it's not as if he is in a worse spot when it comes to upgrades. Ciskhan will get fletching soon. But the double range from Running in the middle makes things interesting here. Again, the wood line, so important. There's a new lumber camp for Running. He'll still add some spears. Ciskhan hasn't scouted his opponent's base yet. Because he was pushing deer all game. But you do kind of know what the opponent's base layout is going to look like. I don't think it's a bad move for him that he pushed the deer like that. I think it's a bad move for him he didn't get another mill up here. But he probably just didn't notice. Ciskhan just got bloodlines for 2 scouts and then their 1 very weak scout friend. I won't even consider that a scout. That's like a leg. This is like a walking toe. It's not even a full unit. Getting bloodlines for 2.1 scouts is a pretty big investment, but I imagine he's probably going to make more. Tower from Running on the wood line. That's good. And, sorry, from Ciskhan, rather. And Running's micro, very good there. Running's farming eco, still pretty solid behind this, but he is up against the Khmer. It will be tough for Running to find a lot of damage now with that tower from Ciskhan. But he could still hold the map. As you can see, Bloodlines didn't really change too much there. Ciskhan could make a new lumber camp soon, so that will be more efficient. But I don't see what he's really supposed to do for map control. I think that if Running were to go through to the gold right now, it would actually be a really good play. But there's a risk in that. Then Ciskhan can pass through the middle and get to your base. So Running is just going to be content with holding the map. I don't know if he noticed that Ciskhan has Bloodlines, but he could clearly see that Ciskhan is making more scouts. And you could tell Ciskhan's under all sorts of pressure right now. Just to Be says, is Running in the top 20 pros conversation? I think right now, maybe not. I think he could get back into that conversation. I think there was a period of time where people would have put Running in the top 20. I'd have to look back and see results and, you know, remind myself of what was happening. But Running performed very well in Titans League, performed very well in other events. But then he got relegated out of TTL, and I think the last year and a half hasn't been quite as strong for him. So this would be a statement for him. Again, it's like Ciskhan cannot find good engagements. And it just gets worse. Now he needs even more scouts, but like the scout number he's going for, he's going to be on 4 with full upgrades. Look at the amount of archers from Running. Like Running's army count's insane. Running is also giving him a lot of respect. Like he's producing a lot of units with a lot of upgrades here. He also is making his own scouts. Wow. Okay. Full feudal here from Running. I kind of like it. There are a lot of situations where someone dies to the full feudal if they try and go to Castle Age. And you're Japanese. Your Castle Age isn't that exciting in early Castle. It all comes down to what numbers you have. And the numbers are going to be there for Running. At least I think so. The micro wasn't the best I've ever seen, but he just has so much more. Ciskhan will need to leave the farms. There will be more archers, more scouts coming in. This is Ciskhan's home map. Map where things are supposed to be going well for him. And look at his queue. More scouts and more archers out of both his stables, both of his ranges now. There's a slight chance he could stabilize it. Ever so slight. There's some weak archers here. And there's still no Bloodlines for Running. And there's still no forging. That's a good start. That's also another good moment. In and out of the house from Ciskhan. And Ciskhan still has a few archers. But it's still so much pressure on his eco. Villager's still so exposed. Another villager goes down. 4th villager down for Ciskhan this game. But I think he'll stabilize this. He might lose another vill. But I think if he can get his scouts forward here, I think he can actually kill this. Running still isn't clicked up. Running's eco. It's good, but it's not perfect. And now maybe Running is regretting investing into the additional scouts, right? Maybe he could have clicked up the Castle Age if he didn't make the additional scouts. You could tell Ciskhan's been under pressure because of the amount of times he's gotten housed. But I was thinking it before, and I'm thinking it again now. Finally, Ciskhan has a little bit of control here. Last time I felt that was when he moved to the middle of the map. But now, he's diving in on the archers. He has his own archers behind. His scouts are just stronger here, and he's going to clear this. Running will aim to click up, but Running won't have the army. Running completely falling apart here. Beautiful play from Ciskhan. His farm eco is stabilized. His production's on point. Running clicks up the castle. But now Running needs to defend, and Running doesn't have a stone, dude. Running sold his stone to click up, so he can't tower the wood line. And now... now he has to sell anything he has left so he can afford a tower. I mean, it's the best play. It's not the bad play to do that, but it's crazy to me how much he's used the market here. What a game, man. You gotta love the swings that can happen in Gold League, right? Because Running's had a good opening, but he hasn't quite been able to snowball it to victory. And then Ciskhan obviously has had a very clean recovery after a shaky opening. And there he snipes a Vil. There's another tower from Running. What does Running even make in Castle Age here? Loses another Vil. Beautiful block from Ciskhan. I think the best thing for Running's probably Cav Archers, because he doesn't really have the food eco for Knights, and he's mainly going to have wood and gold. But Ciskhan clicks up as well. Ciskhan's done great work here. He won't be able to kill his opponent easily because the tower's up, but he's not going to make life easy for Running either. Kills another Vil, kills another Vil, and he's going to kill another Vil, and he'll be underneath the tower. So Running wanted an opportunity to wall that. Ciskhan's now killed 8 Vils. He also killed a couple more Vils over here as well. This is kind of what I expected from Ciskhan. This is why I thought Ciskhan would win this map, is because I expected control with army on a map that can't be walled. The thing is, it just took him so much time to get here. But once he got to this position, you could see the skill, and he's killed 9 Vils. He's 70 seconds away from Castle. But he's still producing archers. He's still producing scouts. Running's plan seems to be counterattacking with Knights here. I don't know, like, 4 Knights is way better to clear up archers and kill Vils than 4 Cav Archers. But long-term, Cav Archers is probably the unit you want for overall control. So I think you can make an argument for either, but you kind of have to choose one or the other. And I don't know if the Knight choice is going to really be worth it here. Maybe kills an archer, but another Knight's going to go down. There's still army over here from Ciskhan patrolling around the gold. There's scouts running underneath the TC even. Another villager goes down. The Ciskhan's archers will be crossbowmen soon. Ciskhan can make knights soon, and Ciskhan wins the game. Looked like Running was going to take that one for a moment, but it was the investment into Feudal Age I think that he'll end up regretting here. So let's go back and analyze this a little bit. I won't do this after every game, but let's go back to this position. So first off, there was never a big difference in the resources collected, even though Running had killed those Vils. The eco for Ciskhan was still pretty efficient. The wood line wasn't, obviously, but this aggression came at a cost for Running. Okay, so like right here, in this position, I'm thinking Running is going to win this game, okay? So let's go here. Okay, so from this position, he's starting to bank up food for something. Now, granted, I look back at his eco, it's actually not great. He's about to run out of berries. He only has 10 farms, so it doesn't actually feel like an eco that can take you to Castle Age. His thinking was, let's make scouts, let's go armor, and let's play heavy feudal. And in the end, I wonder, I mean, he had such a big army lead. Maybe it was messy micro, maybe it was just good patience from Ciskhan, because Ciskhan was producing so much. But like, these fights, like that right there was actually maybe decent for Ciskhan because he killed so many archers. Again, I don't know though. It's 15 army versus 2. It's just so painful for Running. It feels like 15 army versus 2 with this type of position that he should win, but he didn't. He lost some big fights and then he couldn't compete. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I remember these two archers. These two archers got sniped. Maybe he needed patience to back up, but basically the difference is one player's producing out of double range all the time and double stable. Running was just kind of producing out of 1 or 2 buildings at this point. I guess like instead of Castle Age, Running needed to stay deeper in feudal, or maybe he didn't need to make the scouts at all. I don't really know what to say there. But nice stabilizing there from Ciskhan. He was on the brink of being defeated there, and he turned it around. That's what you want to see. Wow, okay, so Running changed his color because he didn't win with the new color. Is that what just happened here? Game number 3, Ciskhan has the Poles, Running has the Bohemians. Game 1, Running went for this color. He won. Game 2, he didn't go for this color, and he lost. So I guess he's switching back to his comfort pick. We've got Fortified Clearing. And Poles Bohemians should be a really fun one. Though Bohemians are the slower civ, but better if the players can just fight through the middle in one spot. And then the Poles, they're probably going to be more around spamming those farms and spamming the cav. So the Poles will really want to utilize the side control available on this map to raid. And making things messy there. So, but I'm wondering if Ciskhan will go Tower Rush. Because what you could do to get some control on this map is you could actually go towers. The stone walls only have 1,000 HP. Especially if the Bohemian player has to respect that you might go for scouts. They might wall up a lot in Dark Age on the outside. If the player walls on the outside a lot in Dark Age, they delay their feudal. And so just a super fast tower rush through the middle could maybe do something. Also could be maybe fast feudal. Just for the eco upgrades. Or for the scouts, like I said, for Ciskhan. Because he might go to the outside. You've got options. So we'll see. Someone is asking about their age. So according to someone in my chat who says they're looking in Wikipedia. Running was born in 95. I knew Running would be a bit of an older player. So what does that make Running? Running is either 29 or 30, I guess. And then Ciskhan was born in 2003? Oh, God, that makes me feel so old, dude. Ciskhan was born in 2003. Okay, so if you're born after the year 2000, you're definitely next generation, new generation for Age of Empires 2. So that would make him... he's like 21, 22, basically. And you'll find a lot of players who came up from silver to gold are in that age category. There's 18-year-olds, there's 19-year-olds. I mean, there's also a 30-year-old, I think, but that's pretty sick for the scene, guys. The main thing Ciskhan needs is experience. And so, I said at the start of the cast that I think this season is going to be huge for Ciskhan's career. I've been waiting for him to do something big because I've seen how good he is on Arabia and on the ladder. I think it's hard to gain confidence when, if you sign up for a qualifier for an S-tier event, you're going to be up against, like, Tato in the second round or something. But if you're not running into the top 24, if you're just simply amongst the next 24, I think you could start to believe a little bit more in yourself. And, potentially do some pretty big things stemming the other tournaments, so yeah, walls on the outside from Running. This is fast castle. And then Ciskhan is going fast feudal. But I don't think this is for a tower rush. This is probably just for eco. I'm not like... Are there any arena clowns in here that can tell me what they think of this build? I'm not completely in love with it. It's certainly not the worst thing. Still getting good, solid food eco and getting those eco upgrades in Feudal Age with poles is going to feel good when you make it to Castle. I just wonder if maybe you could have also gone fast Castle into Scouts, though. Oh my god, he's making his barracks here because he doesn't want to place farms here. It doesn't feel right, but that is actually the correct play, in theory. Because you will want all your farms around your full work. This house actually is blocking a farm, so he might need to delete that later. So he is going to make scouts. I mean, he sees his opponent is fully walled. He's going to make the stable anyways. I guess we'll see if I'm in love with that decision or not. As long as he's not delaying his eco upgrades and still doing this, I think it's probably okay. See this villager headed off to the side here, maybe to build something. And Running knows his opponent is up right now, so Running's fully walled. He's not being tower rushed. He probably just assumes this is fast feudal into eco upgrades. And more scouts are going to be on the way. This could be for a forward archer range from Ciskhan. No loom. And there is a wolf here. Oh, forward wall. Well, if you're going to go forward wall, why not go further forward? Polish villas do regenerate. So I think if you were to fight off the wolf with poles, you would actually win. And okay, woo-woo-woo's denied. Maybe this is... Ah! Okay, we have another situation over here. I mean... I'm still not really certain I'm in love with that, because I think the Bohemian player is going to be the one who doesn't want to play the outsides anyways. I guess if you make a gate here so you can go through and your opponent can't, it's still really good. But, like, if anyone's going to wall the outsides in this matchup, you would think it would be Bohemians, right? Wolves go down. Sad woo-woo-woo noises. Walls will go up. Eventually, Ciskhan will go for some stone mining. We'll receive a little bit of gold income from that. I'm not hugely in love with the opening from Ciskhan. The additional scouts don't add any value here for him. It's looking a little clueless, which maybe is to be expected because this is Running's home map and not his. But I could be wrong. Seems like Running is building up for a castle. Running might even want a forward castle. The fact that Running is scrambling up a barracks right now and has loom makes me think he wants spearmen to protect his vills and a forward castle. Welcome in, everybody. I missed a lot of people. Jim Bob, Elite Expat, hello. Griffmeister, welcome back. Holy Byzantium, hello. Gold Strikes, Mr. Gix. I will heal you. Shulker, hello. Happy weekend, guys. We have this series, and then in like another hour, so we might have a little bit of time to kill. We have another series in TTL today. There's the wall in the market from Ciskhan. There's the wall as well. Again, he doesn't have a gate, though, so he can't actually send new scouts into those areas later on. And now Spearman kill his scout. And what's he thinking about? He's thinking, I want to go to Castle Age now, which he's under even more pressure to do because he produced a couple extra scouts. And now Running is going to come drop a castle on his face. Oh, man, this is going to be super tough for Ciskhan, man. Mgon, Ballpiece, Billo, thank you guys so much for supporting. This is about to be nuts. See, Bohemians can also boom. They're a great economic civ, but they can also do this. Castle on the way up for Running. Ciskhan, he clicks up to Castle Age, but there's nothing you can really do to stop that castle with all the spearmen around. Well played from Running there. Scout actually made it through for Ciskhan into his opponent's walls. And Running is so worried his opponent's going to attack from the outside. He'll stonewall, which is pretty funny to me because obviously nothing is happening there. But castle's up. I'm sure we'll see a Hussite wagon or two. And then Running can actually just use these forward vills to take out, or to take some of the gold and to take some of the stone here. Ciskhan's terrified. He also did lose his scout. And so he will stonewall the front of his base here as quickly as possible. He doesn't have loom yet. He clicked up to Castle Age before the castle drop. He doesn't have loom. Well, that's a problem against the Hussite wagons, but he does regenerate, I guess. So maybe there's a positive. Stone walls were the good play here. If this unit would have gotten into his eco, it would have been way worse. Still wasn't lost to Vil. Now he loses one. And Running's even adding a petard right away. Monastery's out for Running to start snagging the relics. And Running can see his opponent's eco is in all sorts of shambles here. Being able to deny farms around a fork is also huge. Another villager goes down. Loom is in queue. Oh, man, but now the petard is here. Petard can take down that stone wall if he wants to. Siege Workshop from Ciskhan in a panic. TC from Ciskhan in a panic. Petard has taken out the wall, so now the scout and the Hussite wagon's on the way through. Again, like, I don't think Bohemians ever want to play the outside of the map. I think stonewalling the outside of the map is a really good thing to do. I'm not sure about this time. Running's eco isn't perfect behind this. Running is pretty much gone all in, and I think that's really important to remind everybody of. He doesn't have many farms. He's certainly not poles. Ciskhan has loom now. Units are rolling through from running. And running should be able to get every single relic in the middle of the map. So he could be on at least 5 relics. Running should know a mangonel will pop out soon. But it'll be tough for Ciskhan to keep that alive. Running is splitting up his units. And also the spears. I think without the spears, the mangonel would be fine to pop out. I don't know where these 2 spears are going exactly. It seems like they have a death wish. Okay. Running's also protecting this opening, so he can always bring in new wagons, which is smart. God, the food eco for Ciskhan is just horrible, but the mangonels hop out. Ciskhan cannot lose these mangonels. If he keeps these mangonels alive, he's okay. Boom, takes out the wagons. Repairs away. Beautiful play from Ciskhan. The spear will go down, the mangonels survive, and the Hussite wagon play might not work too much more now for running. He killed 4 vills. Might be 5. But he loses the wagons pretty quickly. And so now Ciskhan's feeling like life is good again, but look at the pressure. He quickly adds the farms around the full works. He's had 0 on food for a while here. But now running has a new plan. Running's next play is going to be a really good play against the mangonels. And so I think we'll see redemption clicked. Monks with redemption can just convert the siege. What you would need then if you're Ciskhan is you would need scouts. So scout mangonel could still work. But when the castle's in front of your face, it's always super tricky to know what's coming and to be able to engage against that. And will be 3 TCs for Ciskhan. So long term, he should have the better vill count here. And he's poles with better eco upgrades. Hussite wagon barely misses out on killing that vill, but is at least harassing. I think running will go for another forward castle here. Like, the fact that he's still on 1 TC, the fact that he's still on stone, makes me think he'll do that. But he did send a lot of vills home. Because he built the initial castle with, like, 10 vills or something. So maybe, I actually think he thought he could still come through this wall. And Ciskhan did a really smart thing there to wall that up. I think running could still... Oh, no, there's a gap. Never mind, it's not walled. The villager got sniped right before that. And now a petard from running. Yeah, running wants to come through again. And running can be through pretty quickly because he'll just convert the houses. The Hussite wagon got sniped. Panic time for Ciskhan, though. This was the #1 pick from running. He knew he had a distinct plan the entire way through. It could have been... I really do think this could have been a boom game. But if you boom... and you sit back, the Poles thrive with their farms and their map control, so... I don't know if this was necessarily just an adaptation to his opponent's opening. Just now TC #2 from running, and just now TC #3. A tower from Ciskhan. Ciskhan continues to do just enough to make this questionable on if running could actually do some damage here. Well played from Ciskhan. I mean, I know he's lost 7 vills, but it could have been so much worse, right? T90, if you're running, where do you put the second castle? Well, castling a TC is never bad, so I wouldn't personally mind building the castle here, but I wouldn't build it with just 4 vills. You'd need to bring vills forward. I do feel like running has been somewhat caught on 2 minds. For a while, he was thinking I'm going all in 1 TC. And then I think he couldn't do enough damage, so now he's switching his mindset. Which is normal. Excuse me. Another house should be converted. Lycav are patrolling around looking for the monks. Lycav will dive in. Now running is booming, right? So because he's focusing on eco, he won't notice that. He will lose 2 of his monks. Also, if that house is converted, that means only one of the monks here from running can actually convert siege. And there should be some siege, right? So running is to pay very close attention to this. He could easily overextend in this position. There's the siege. There's the Lycav. There's the castle from running. I think everything's going to die for running. He'll lose his monks. And if he loses his monks, he'll lose his siege. And then the castle with the 4 vills might not go up. And Ciskhan is holding here, guys. He's not a player who normally thrives on arena-style maps. But he's doing a good job here. Newly promoted player. Remember game number 1 as well. It looked like it was so bad for him and he was able to bring it back. Big moment, big moment. Mangonel's here to deny the castle. But there's a monk. And the monk converts it! The monk converts! Also, the Mangonel, there's another Mangonel here. There needs to be another monk, but running snipes it, dude. Oh, that's huge. Okay, well, obviously, well played from Ciskhan thus far. But now you've got a second castle on your face. So your TC will go down. You still have so little time to react between the point from when you see the enemy unit and when he's actually in your base. Because he's producing right here. So you always have to respect that he could send in more, which means it's very difficult to justify Imperial Age. I think that's what he's thinking about. Beautiful defense there from Ciskhan. The fact that running is stonewalled on the right side and the left side is actually a really big deal now. Running is going to go imp, I think. Running's probably going to buy 1,000 food in a second. Okay, more like, I don't know, 300. But yeah, running wants to go imp, to go cannons and trebs and halbs through the middle. And I thought Ciskhan was going to go imp as well when he built this castle. But then I saw the stables and then I saw the upgrades. Guys, this is going to be full Castle Age Knight spam from Ciskhan. He is good eco for it. This could work. He might need some rams eventually. But if he can get to a point where this siege workshop can also produce rams. I know it looks bad right now, but this might be his best chance of success. Because if you just go imp against the Bohemians, they'll research chemistry in Castle Age. They'll get bombard cannons before you. It's also 2 castles versus 1. Yeah, I love this play from Ciskhan. I don't know if it will work, but I love it. He's even making petards. He's a madman. I don't know. Maybe he's making petards so he could do something on the sides. Oh my god. Running is going to wall him in. Bro, that's so good. But running, you actually need to full commit to this, man. The one way running doesn't die to an all-in Castle Age is if he walls his opponent in. So it's a good play. Running doesn't know what's going on back there. But running can see the score is really high for Ciskhan. So that's big enough of a score difference, which tells you your opponent isn't on the way to imp. Because there's no way with the way this game is flowed that Ciskhan is that far ahead. So that is Ciskhan making army and being in Castle Age with maybe a slight Vill lead. In combination with running having no army and clicking up to imp. That's what skews those scores a little bit. Seems like running wants to make even more walls on this side. He's also checking this area. Remember, running already has 5 relics in the middle. Ciskhan can see the walls, but I think he doesn't feel he can do anything about it. What'll get really interesting is when we get to here. Because that's Ciskhan's gate. Running needs to wall in front of Ciskhan's gate somehow. But he probably won't think about that because he thinks he's fully walled. Pikeman's on the way for running, who still hasn't seen anything. Imp is now in. And he'll go to make trebs, obviously, because that's the natural thing you do. Look at the amount of petards Ciskhan has. Look at the amount of knights he has. Look at the eco as well. His eco is really strong here. Yo, thank you, Snelm. Welcome. Sissy just got here from YouTube for the first time. Please salute away. Skronkle, Balpy, MJan, welcome everybody. Thank you. What a game. 20 bucks for this win, but all the more important is your position in the group. This is the first round for both. Okay, Running spotted that. Running sees it. Running sees it. Ciskhan deletes all of his walls. There's still a gate. Is that enough? The thing is, the Knights can't pass the castle here. This is a crazy push from Ciskhan. Look at the petards! Petards for the castle. Let's go, baby. Let's go. They actually all hit as well, which is huge because now the Rams should take down this castle. Knights should take down the Trebs from Running. Running is probably freaking out right now. Can't believe it. We've even got some Olbuk now from Ciskhan. More Knights on the way, but he is Castle Age, guys. Dude, this is wild. But Running's wall towards his castle may actually save him. Oh my god, look at Ciskhan now. He's going to drop a castle behind this. But I think Running may be able to defend this. If Running repairs his own castle and doesn't open the gate. Pikemen, do not open that gate. Yeah, let's see. He needs to repair his own castle, and then he needs to siege behind to hit the Rams. This castle's almost dead, though. Running, you need to repair with more. The castle's almost dead. Running, repair, repair, repair. The siege is still alive. Ciskhan is on the way to Imp. Ciskhan even microed his Rams. It's almost going to go down. It goes down. It goes down. Ciskhan is through. And he'll take the fight right before Running gets Halb as well. Halb is such an important tech here. Halb will come in mid-fight. And this will make it very difficult for Ciskhan to win the fights. But at least Ciskhan has taken some of this pressure off of himself. Now, the wild thing is the relics for Running are right here, dude. They're right here. And if they eject because of that one ram and they eject to the left underneath Castle Fire, can you imagine how crazy this will be? Let's see. Where they eject, you don't really control. It's random, but... Oh, okay, that benefits Running. Well, the thing is, guys, Running still has Halb, and Running has Hand Cannon now. So Halb Hand Cannon should be really good against what's currently being made. And the Vil count's also even. There will be a lot of fighting through the middle, which should benefit Bohemians. But what a game. I think Ciskhan needs Arbalest now. If Ciskhan goes Arbalest, this is his game. And honestly, who even needs it? Maybe just still spam Knights. Still spam the Olbuk. He's gotten up to 22 Olbuk as well. The Olbuk is certainly going to help against the Halps. Wow, Running is only 8 army. He's completely stunned by this. Ciskhan could steal those relics. Ciskhan could do everything here. He makes it to Imp. The Olbuk and the Knights are still shredding. All the production from Running is running right into all these units that are surrounding his buildings. And the GG's called. What a game. What a game. Ciskhan wins 2 straight and ends up winning his first round in Titans League Gold. Again, a player promoted from Silver. Clearly, he wasn't completely sure what to do here in the early stages. It looked like there was a little bit of confusion on how to handle this map. But once he got cooking with that eco, the 3 town centers and the farms, all he needed was commitment towards something. And in his mind, he committed for the Rams and for the Knights and for the Petards, guys. The Petards were actually game-changing. Let's go back to that castle as just a second ago. Like, if this castle doesn't go down, none of this army can advance because of Running's wall. So what that means is the first castle going down fast was huge, right? Because he got to quickly move on from this castle and go to the next. It didn't give Running time to think about what he needed to do. So I saw a couple people laughing at the whole petard idea. Usually that's pretty desperate. You don't normally see petards used at a high level unless castles are right next to one another. But he knew that the castle from Running would be focused on other things, and he might actually have a chance. Running will probably be kicking himself for not focus firing down some of those petards. Maybe for, not walling behind his own castle or something. But yeah, those petards were huge. What a game and what a win. That shakes things up. Running was one of the favorites in the group. He does get a win here. It's not over, of course. There's plenty more rounds, but that's good to see. There's the food collected. Look at the difference there. I was sick. Anyone who's ever been castle dropped is really loving that game. That was amazing. But a lot of the times when you're up against this type of play, you need heavy commitment towards one thing or the other. You need to go up to imp super, super fast with low eco to push it back. Or you don't go imp at all and you make Omega Army. And that's what he did. It worked out. Running would have had 0 relics. Ciskhan would have had like the 6 in the middle and then plus that relic, that relic, that relic. He would have had all relics. He would have had 9 relics, which is everything that's on the map. I do think he would have eventually transitioned in towards Arbalest. I mean, running had nothing at this point. Great game. So, let's look at the group real quick and see what that means at this point. Now, we still have another round from this group to play, but I still think it's worth reviewing. So, we're talking about Group C here in golds. Ciskhan's now top of the group, tied with Lan. Running and Target, the 2 Germans, are tied for 3rd at the moment. And then that will inevitably change after Kingston Z40. The Kingston Z40 starts in 45 minutes. So we will be casting that. I would say Kingston's the favorite, but Z40 will be very, very prepared. But we might have another group where there's not a single sweep, kind of like Group D here. Group D's had some really good sets. I covered Stone Please Kasva. That was the first series of the whole tournament, actually. And then I did see the games for Ganji Say My Name and for Lix Lewis. Is that correct, by the way? Oh, okay, yeah. Ganji lost. Yeah, that's correct. Sorry. I was confusing things. Elsewhere, we still have Group A to sort out its first rounds. Deeker was disqualified for lack of availability and scheduling and communication. So that was a really disappointing thing we had to do this week. But he's out, replaced by Guki, who's like 16 years old. And she will be up against Vivi. And they play Monday. So that's the only set from the first round yet to play. And then in Group B, we already had Mihai and Miguel play their second round. Has not been a very good start for Miguel yet. So disappointing stuff. But I think Miguel will make it interesting. Miguel Prisma, Miguel Wide, and then Miguel Draken round 5 should be interesting if you ask me.